Who actually cares about the Community Shield? I mean, come on, the fact that these lot are celebrating it, it's kind of cringe, if I'm being honest with you, especially when you've just won the Premier League. How can you go from celebrating that to celebrating the Community Shield like she just did? Like, get a grip. But seriously, no. That tested my patience today. As much as it is the Community Shield, I'm thankful that I kept reminding myself that it is the Community Shield, because if I wasn't reminding myself, some of the things I saw today deserved a much bigger crash out. And if I see those sort of things going to the Bournemouth game, then we can have a lot more serious conversations, not Maresca out conversations, because it'll still only be one league game. But yeah, some very concerning stuff. And I know it's going to sound mad because I've just said some of the stuff was concerning, but especially in the context that it was 3-0 against Arsenal, I actually don't think the overall performance was crazy. I know that sounds mental because we got beat 3-0 and some of the defence and just some of the individual performances were abysmal, quite a lot of them actually. But as far as 3-0 goes, you think the team that wins 3-0 has about 20 chances, should have scored about 15 of them, and it's like you got lucky to get away with 3. But realistically, and I know we didn't do a lot second half, both teams, it was just kind of, yeah, whatever. So you could argue with that, but especially first half, we had some good chances. We should have probably scored. I'm not saying we should have scored 3 goals, but we should have scored. It weren't like there was nothing. Do you know what I mean? It weren't like Arsenal were all over us. We had a lot of the ball. Starting off, I get into the game, I go into it with kind of like a softer expectation, let's just say, in that I'm sitting there thinking Community Shield, glorified friendly, which I do still think it is, but you know, you expect Arsenal to be one of your main contenders. You don't want them to just absolutely bum you, which kind of seems like that's what they did by the scoreline, because you don't want them to have that thing over you when you play them in a league, which will be a much more important game. These lot think, oh, it's the Charity Shield, so we have to be charitable to our opponents. And 25 seconds in, we just go, yeah, mate, here's a path right here. You know, we're playing the 3 at the back. It was kind of basically the lineup I said that we should play, which goes to show why I should stop doing tactics and just fucking talk shit on YouTube. We get split right through the middle between Kusanov and Diaz. Calafiori walks in. And the one main player that we can talk about today that really, really isn't helping people like myself who are trying not to get onto his back and trying to support him because we know he's our main goalkeeper, and which he is still going to be, let's be realistic. It'd have to go really, 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 really wrong to see Rulli starting in goal. It is still a friendly, so I'm trying not to get onto him. But today, he made that very, very hard, and he definitely deserves criticism on, in my opinion, all 3 of the goals. Now the last one, fair enough. Odegaard kind of goes, I'm gonna go that way, and then he puts it that way. So that one, I can kind of understand why he moved out the way, even though I still think he shouldn't have dived that early. But on the first one, I watched that, and I thought it was kind of similar to what the Odegaard one was, and I thought maybe he did that little thing, and maybe that's why he dived the wrong way. I see the replay. What do I see? He just moves. He literally just dives out of the way. Like, what are you doing, mate? And then that second goal. What are we doing here? What are we doing? What was that? And the worst thing about it is that we've seen Maresca clearly trying to force him to play off from the back, which, you know, there was also some pointers there. But the one main thing that we can all kind of hang on to as people trying to get behind Donnarumma, when you get all the Trafford fans saying, oh, look at this, sure, yeah, Trafford, oh, fuck this, fuck him off, whatever, is his shot stopping's good. His shot stopping, right? Even if Maresca's trying to make him play out the back, he might make mistakes, but his shot stopping, that's what'll get even the Trafford fans every now and again to go, you know what, fair enough, you had a good game here, you had a good game there. But today, what was that? His biggest errors actually came from his shot stopping, in my opinion, because all 3 goals was shocking. I mean, the second one, straight at him, it goes under him, and then he heads it into the net. He might have actually been trying to score, I'm actually convinced he was trying to score. Okay, that's a bit harsh. He wasn't obviously trying to score, but it's just it was infuriating to watch. I mean, I personally didn't watch a lot. I watched the highlights of the preseason games, but I didn't watch them live. But from people who did watch them live, I'm hearing that, oh, it's more expansive. It's the wingers are more, proper on it, whatever. It's kind of more like what we seen when Sane and Sterling were there and all that. I watched it today. Semenyo is doing the same thing. Now, I have talked about playing him off the left and trying that. He didn't play off the left today, but even off the right, he was poor. He was really, really poor. Now, Doku went off at half time. I don't really mind that. Again, like I said, with the Charity Shield, it's a pre-season game. Some of them only just came back, the likes of Haaland, who looked rusty. He had a couple of chances which he probably could have done better with. You also had Doku, obviously just came back, and then Anderson, who's playing his first game for the team. I can again, that's one of the other things that I can mask it with. Charity Shield pre-season, we've only just had a couple of players who started in the game that have only just came back a couple of days ago. So those are the sort of things I can mask it with. But Doku and Foden, in my opinion, particularly in the first half, were the two bright sparks. Cherky, when he came on, I think he came on for Foden in the second half, he was a bright spark as well. That's about all I can say. They were the ones trying. Foden looked a bit more sharper, wasn't as clinical, but he seemed a bit more like he was in his best season in 23-24. I've said about 3 things about the game so far, and 2 of them were somehow positive, which I know you're thinking, what are you going on about, mate? How have you managed to make that many positives from this game? I do think that there is things to take out. I don't think people should use this as to say, oh, this is how our season goes, whatever. You got to remember, as much as we take the piss out of them, they have just won the league. They're the most stable team, but they're definitely more stable than us. But in terms of other things I can point out about the game, I mentioned when I was doing that lineup sort of thing the other week, although I know most of it was how actually we played, so yeah, maybe I'm wrong. But in the midfield, I said if it's Anderson, I said Anderson should be one of the double pivots playing, but the one next to him, regardless of who it is, because of ingoings and outgoings, which we just had an outgoing today, which would be perfect for that. But I said I see Anderson as an 8. I would really like him to have an out-and-out 6 next to him, so we've got proper defensive cover in that midfield. That midfield today was open as the amount of times I saw Kusanov getting dragged from right centre-back, although basically playing right back, right, and he's getting dragged into the midfield because of how open it is. I've talked about Kovacic, same way I've kind of backed on a rumour and he just keeps trying to backfire on me. But I've talked about Kovacic and I said he's underrated. Now, he is 33 years of age. We can't be relying on him to start week in, week out. I said this with Anderson. Them 2 for me are probably some of the most out-and-out 8s. Now, Anderson's slightly less because I do think he can play in the 6. Just depends on the level of opposition. But Kovacic is an out-and-out 8. Having 2 out-and-out 8s today clearly showed why we cannot do that. Now, Nico Gonzalez, I don't know if he's as good as people say, but he would be a lot better at that, in my opinion, in there with Anderson. Buadi's apparently coming in. Apparently he's an out-and-out 6. Okay, if that's the case, yeah, but he's still an 18-year-old. He's still going to have to develop, but at least he's an out-and-out 6. But you cannot be playing 2 8s in that position, and I think it clearly showed today with how open we were. I mean, again, it's a Charity Shield. They probably weren't trying it as hard. A lot of them probably do view it as a pre-season game, other than Gyökeres, but he came on late anyway, so I don't know why he got his panties in a twist in that interview. Versus City, versus City, fuck off, mate, you shit. You actually could have played for us today, you that shit. But the ease of some of it, I mean, Odegaard, don't get me wrong, he's not a dreadful player, but we made him look like a prime Xavi or something today, seriously. The way he turned some of our midfielders when they've got about 50 yards of pace to run into, like, these sort of things need to be sorted out. If that game is a representation of our season, then 100% we have got things to worry about, but we have to sit here and go, it is a pre-season game. Like I said, it's obviously going to be escalated a bit by the fact it's Arsenal. We expect them, if we are going to compete for the title, to be our main contenders, obviously being Premier League champions. But realistically, if that game was in Hong Kong like the other three, it wouldn't be getting talked about this much, would it? Really. So we just got to view it like that. On to Bournemouth next week. Can't have the same performance. I hope not. Home game, so we've got to get behind them, get behind Maresca, get behind the lads. I know it's going to be hard. Some of you are probably wanting a lot of these players out, but it looks like we're going to have to cope. I saw Jackie Boy Grealish come back today. Maybe he stays, who knows. I think I've kept it quite positive, to be honest, so anyone who wants to just say, I only come here to do hateful reactions, then, yeah. Some people would be calling me delusional as well for talking about it as positive as I am, but yeah, it's a Community Shield. Do you know what I mean? It's literally called the Charity Shield. We have to give it out sometimes. Do you know what I mean? We gave it out to Leicester the other year, so we thought we'd just give it to another small little club. So yeah, but that's all I've got to say. What do you think? Leave it in the comments. Come on, City. Let's just not see any performances like that, because if I do, I might start punching my head against the wall.